everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sue of Bendnstretch with Sue. In today's video, I'm taking you through a Pilates session, and this is a live class that I recently did with my students via Zoom. For this one, you can take on some light weights. I have here a couple of 2-pound weights, weighted balls that I use for Pilates, as well as a couple of 5-pound dumbbells and some 10-pound weights as well. I have a couple of these too. So go ahead, reach for whatever weights you may have available, even some water bottles, or you could do this entirely without weights, just being very conscious of the cueing and the engagement of your powerhouse. So with that, let's get started. Be sure, if you haven't subscribed yet, to hit that big red button, and do be sure to give me one of these if you like it, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I upload new content, and you can check it out and check me out in the next video. So standing nice and tall and bringing blood flow into the muscles. So taking a big breath in, bringing the arms up, come on into a little bit of a back bend here, and then swan dive the arms down. Just let yourself dangle and maybe add a little bit of twisting, letting the arms sway from side to side. A little bit of swaying forward and back, and just letting the backs of the legs stretch out as well as the spine decompress. Eventually you can soften the knees, pulling the navel to the spine, creating a little lift in the pelvic floor as you unroll yourself, and as you come up to the top, move into a few shoulder rolls to start getting the synovial fluid moving in there and the blood flow increasing into that shoulder joint. And then taking a nice big breath in to bring the arms back up again. Exhale, let's swan dive it back down again. As you inhale, flatten the back, and from here, exhale. You can bring the fingertips down to the floor if you like to come into a squat, and then straighten the legs to fold. Inhale, flatten the back. Exhale and sink the hips nice and heavy into your heels, and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, sink, and come back to that forward fold. This time, as we come into setting the hips up, straightening the legs, bend the left leg, straighten your right one, place your left hand on the mat underneath your face. You might have to do the fingertips depending how your reach is, and then taking your right arm up to bring it up over the shoulder and looking up toward that hand. So soften through the face, keep reaching your right hip up. Palms are open toward the wall that you're facing, the direction you're facing in, and then bend both knees. Switch the hands around and straighten your left leg as you reach up with your left hand. So again, you're aiming to bring your gaze up to that hand. If it doesn't quite reach, that's okay. You can look wherever it's comfortable for you too. We just want to start to open up that chest, shoulder. As you bring that back down, soften the knees, draw the navel into the pelvic floor as you once again take your time to unroll and come on up to a standing nice and tall. Take a big breath in, reaching those arms up. And as you exhale, we'll reach the arms forward. Take a pause here for a moment. Send those hips back, palms face each other, thumbs facing or pointed up. Take another breath, reach the tailbone a little further back, and as you exhale, bring the hands down. From here, we'll walk the hands away, coming into a downward dog or inverted V. And as we move forward on an inhalation, we come into a plank. So adjust the feet if you need to bring them back maybe a little bit more. It's ideal to have the heels stacked over the balls of the feet, and then pull it back again, sending the chest toward your legs, tailbone back. Inhale forward, and exhale it back. Let's do a couple more like that. So really being aware of using the core to solidify through that low back is well supported through your abs. The legs are fired up, particularly as you come forward into your plank. So from here, we'll drop down to the knees, push the hips back, take it into a nice big stretch here. Nice child's pose as you send hips towards your heels, and then taking your left arm through to the right, let's release onto the left shoulder, maybe the left ear, or maybe you're only coming partially down, but you'll still get a good stretch through the back of the shoulder and the upper arm. As you press into the right hand, slide that left arm back out, and let's switch it over to the other side. Bring the left arm through and bringing your right ear to your mat or towards it. As you slide the hand back out again, let's come into a table position. Inhaling to lift the tailbone in your gaze, exhaling to round, and continuing to move in that way. Breathing in and breathing out. Keep that going. Just going to adjust. I think I might have forgotten to do a mute all here. Let me check in. Keep that cat-cow going, and then take it back to a child's pose once again. Nice big stretch here. Feels good to send those hips back as you come into your child's pose, and the hips are nice and heavy over the heels. Sides of the body stretched out. Inhale, come on forward again. Now moving into a half plank or a full plank where we hover on the forearms. We'll take those forearms parallel to each other, getting up on the balls of the feet. If you choose to come up on your feet, you can stay on your knees. We're going to pivot and roll toward the right as we reach the right arm up. If you went the other way, just reach your left arm up. We're going to balance it out anyway. Bring your right arm across and reach up with the left one looking up toward that hand. So continuing side to side as you reach up. Breathe in when it's easy. Breathe out as you use your strength and effort. Side to side. And then from here, we finish up on the left. And bring that forearm down, bring the knees down, and once again push it back to your child's pose. Nice softening and heaviness in the hips as you push them back, intending them toward the tailbone. And from here, let's unroll to move ourselves up into a downward dog. Take your time to walk the hands toward the feet, and once again you are unrolling nice and slow. Bringing those shoulders up to the ears and then sliding them down and well away. So from here you can go ahead and pick up your medium to heavy weights, whichever you prefer. I'm going with medium to start out. And from here I'm going to bring the weights right along sides of the collarbone, coming to one end of the mat, standing nice and tall, engaging through the powerhouse as I step back with the right foot and bend that knee, looking for the floor but not touching the floor. So lots of weight when I'm in that lunge position in my front heel. The front toes are fairly light, and then stepping it back in. Maintaining a bend in the knees is going to keep those legs loaded, switching legs as I come to the other side. So as we continue to alternate from side to side, we're going to keep load in those legs if possible. You're going to keep the core stacked over top of those hips, so your shoulders are stacked, and you're moving up and down like an elevator always, rather than an escalator when you're moving into those lunges.
Keep that solid pressure in the front heel. Keep that lift in those deep core muscles. That's going to help to stabilize not only the torso over the hips, but also it's going to help you to stabilize through the hips. So let's finish with one more on each side. And bring that in and come up to standing, and you can release the weights. Now, if you went with heavy weights, you can stay with the heavy weights now, or if you have medium, you might want to increase for this one. We're targeting the posterior chain now, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up my heavy weights, and we're going to begin with a deadlift where we're turning the toes inward. So the heels are turned out, body's nice and tall over the heels, taking a breath in, and as I exhale, sliding down those weights toward my shins, and then slowly coming back up again. So I'm just going to turn sideways here, continue inhaling at the top, exhaling as you move down. So keeping the back long and flat, and keeping the arms pinned in to the shoulders. So you're not reaching down with your arms, you are simply tipping, hinging, keeping the back nice and long, and keeping those arms pinned in. So when you make your way back up again, be very, very mindful of pressing in your heels and squeezing those glutes to bring you back up to the top. Keep that moving, flowing, breathing in at the top, pulling the belly to keep your back supported always. These exercises will definitely strengthen the lower back because you're working to strengthen the whole core. By squeezing and activating the glutes, you are going to train those glute muscles to work so that you're not always relying on your lower back and your hips to do the brunt of the work. And from here, coming all the way back up again. Now we're going to turn the toes outward, bringing the heels in. So keeping about the same distance, so the feet are still under the hips, just the toes are turned out. Again, roll those shoulders up, down, and away from the ears. Knuckles are facing you as you take an inhale. There's a wee bit of softness in the knees as you hinge and lift it back up again. So just changing up that exercise stimulus just enough to target all the muscles in the legs, that posterior chain, and all the while continue to train that abdominal wall and the deep core muscles to be working and supporting. So a few more here. We're about halfway. Let's do 4 more. 3. Again, keep those arms pinned in. Don't start reaching. 2. And one last one. And bring it all the way back up again. From here, you stretch out the legs, shake them out, and let's switch the weights now to actually, I'm going to stay with the heavier ones. We're moving into some suitcase squats. So as we align ourselves, the feet are again under the hips, they're parallel to each other. So the toes are pointed straight ahead, opening up through the body, anchor through your core, pin those shoulders or those upper arms into the shoulders. Let the arms just feel nice and heavy at your sides. Breathe in and breathe out as you bend, and let yourself reach down. So it's as if you are setting down a suitcase in each hand and then picking it up again. Once again, where do you want to feel the weight distributed here is very much in your heels as well as the balls of the feet. Your toes are relatively light and the arches are lifted. It's as if your feet are suction cups into your mat. So you want to really develop the soles of those feet, the muscles in your feet, as well as targeting those big muscles. So we've got another 2. And you may want to fix your gaze on a particular spot in front. And last one. So once again, we shake out the legs here and we're going to move into some wider rows. I'm going to go with my lightest weights. And from the back of the mat, I'm going to take a big step forward with the right foot, bringing the left knee down. So I want to make sure that my right knee is over top of the ankle. I'm opening through the chest, leaning forward slightly as I lift the elbows and bring those fingertips toward each other. So lift as the fingertips point back because I'm holding onto weights, and then bring them back toward each other. So lifting the elbows as if there are strings on those elbows. So leaning forward, keeping a nice long line from the tailbone to my cervical spine. And this time, as I lift it up, I hold it and try to lift the belly away from the thigh so it's not completely resting on your thigh, just towards it. From here, let's pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that down. Lift the back knee and pressing into that front heel. Let's take a big step back to come back to our starting place. Take a breath here, reset, and when you're ready, you're going to step the left foot forward into your great big lunge, moving down like an elevator as you place that back knee down. So make sure your front foot is far enough forward so that the knee is above the ankle, a little bit of a lean forward, and make sure that you anchor your shoulder blades in place. And this time, we're going to lift and bring the arms just in front of our shoulders and then bring them back down again. Lifting straight ahead and back down. So be sure not to bring those weights up too far because you don't want to create impingement in the shoulder. You simply want to fire up those deltoids, rhomboids, even the lats, working here to get that back well defined, nice and strong, upper arms nice and strong, holding on to those weights. It's a straight up and down movement. And we've got 2 more. Make sure that you're not swinging the weights, so you want to control, and this time hold it up. Again, belly is just grazing your thighs. We hold it here. And let's do tiny pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring those weights down. Lift of the back knee up. Once again, press firmly in that front heel. Activate the core and take it as far back as you can. Whew, hands are getting slippery. So from here, let's set the weights aside. You can shake out the legs a little bit. And again, rolling out the shoulders, opening up through the chest to take a big stretch across the front of the body, turning thumbs down, bring the hands behind the back, and lift them away from the back as we get ready to move into our next exercise. So from here, we target the big muscles first. So we're going to go ahead. I'm picking up medium weights for this one. and holding on to them as we move into a sumo squat position. So you're going to want to take your feet wider apart. Knuckles are facing each other and the elbows out. Again, activate that powerhouse. Squeeze those glutes. Take a breath in, exhale, bend the knees, and as you hold the weights here, press the knees towards your baby toes. Bring your bottom nice and low, and we'll lift the right heel and down, left and down. So try as much as possible to keep your body nice and still. So you want to move the leg. You're going to have those leg muscles, glute muscles, core muscles working to keep everything nice and stable. But you're training your body to work the muscles independently when required, one at a time. Lots of control required. So the next time you bring the left heel down, hold it here, lift both heels away as you pause here. Hold it, sink a little lower, keep those heels lifted, bring down and straighten the legs. Walk those feet in, again, give the legs a really good shake as we continue to add on. So from here, I'm going to actually stick to the medium-sized weights. You could go lighter. We're going to be targeting the biceps on this one. So you can go light, or you can remain with a medium weight or heavier weight. So from here, we're going to sink again, almost as if we're getting back into that ski squat, suitcase squat, and the knuckles are facing each other as the legs hang here, and you're going to turn them up as you bring those weights. And as you bring them up, what you want to be doing is you want to create a sensation of squeezing your forearm toward the bicep and then control the way down. So you want to squeeze that forearm toward your bicep. So you're not touching your shoulder as you bring the weight up. You are continuing, so keep going. As I'm talking here, keep that little tuck of the tailbone. Now if it gets to be too much on the bottom half, you can go ahead, straighten the legs, and continue to concentrate on the upper half only. But by combining the two, you get twice as much for your money. So why not? As we breathe in, when it's easy, breathe out when you're exerting that effort. Now the bottom, can you do a full extension? So you want to stretch out the muscle and contract the muscle. Stretch it out and squeeze it out. So from here, we're going to finish up with the last two. Keep that weight in your heels if the legs are bent and you're semi-squatted. Last one, and bring it up. Shaking out those legs. From here, we come back to one end of the mat. We're almost done with those legs. As we finish it up here, one end of the mat, bringing the weights, once again, just on top of the shoulders. So just above the collarbone like before. And from here, we're going to take a big step back with the right foot as we reach the right arm up. Bring it back in and step that foot in. From here, let's switch sides. Step back with the left, and as you bend, straighten the arm and step it in. Now, when you come to the top, you can straighten the legs if you wish, or you can keep them loaded by maintaining a bend in the knees. And step. Reach back, make it a big step. Again, remember to try to keep your body well aligned over top of your hips so that you're not tipping forward. You are moving straight down, which is going to require you to create almost a muscle, a girdle of muscles to keep your body upright, keep it strong, and keep it well aligned. pressing into that front heel. And alternate it side to side. We've got another 2 on each side. One more. And last one. Step it in, bring it up. Roll it out and continue to hold on to my weights here as I move to the back of my mat. Once again, breathe in. Roll those shoulders up. Breathe out, bring them down. Take another big breath in. As you exhale, bring the weights forward and slowly hinge to bring the weights down. Now, if you need to bend your knees in order to reach the floor, go ahead, do that. We're going to bring the weights to the floor as we walk them away. So for this, you probably will want to move to a light to medium weight, moving forward into your plank position. Take a breath in. As you exhale, push back. Take right hand toward your left foot. A little reach and touch, tap if you can. Move it forward again to your plank position. Switch it back, bringing your left hand towards your right foot and back to your plank. So continuing to move forward and back, much like we did earlier in our warm-up, but by adding the weight and reaching the arm toward the opposite foot, we get more activation of the obliques, more stabilization for trying to balance the body as you bring your hand back. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep it going. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathe in and out. Whew. Those weights might roll on you. If you need to drop the weights, you could just do a toe tap, ankle tap with the hands instead. So let's finish one more to each side. And last one. And bring it forward and all the way down to your mat. You can set the weights aside here, and as we bring the arms alongside the hips with the palms down, you can bring the nose to your mat, keeping your cervical spine long, your tailbone tucked, the feet apart a little bit. Thumbs are facing out, so the palm is facing the floor. Squeezing through the glutes as we keep that tailbone tucked. Take an inhale and exhale to lift it up and bring it back down again. Inhale and exhale. Be sure as you lift up to draw your shoulder blades toward the middle of your spine as well. Keep squeezing, breathing in, breathing out. Reach those fingertips back. This time we're going to lift and we're going to hold it here. So getting as much height and squeeze, reaching back, lifting those legs, lifting the ribs, breathing while you're here. One more breath and release it. Bring the hands to the top of your mat. Slide out the knee for a half frog. Bring your left ear to the stacked hands. That is if you have your right knee to the floor, otherwise bring the opposite one. Great release for the lower back. And let's switch the sides. Bring the opposite ear to the hands, knee to the side. Nice release. And from here, let's bring the hands outside the ribs, draw the elbows in. Keep those elbows pointed back. It's as if you want to keep them squeezing your rib cage. Tuck the toes under from your toes or from your knees. Fire up the whole body. Take an inhalation. Exhale, press it straight up. Bring the knees down and push back into your shell stretch or your child's pose. So next, as we move up onto the hands and knees, I would advise you to have either your light or your medium weight. And or you can do this without weight entirely as well. Now we're going to place the weights much like we were doing earlier with our plank to downward dog. So weights are underneath the shoulders, we're holding on to them. And from here, we're going to tuck the toes under to move into a bear plank. So bear plank means that you've got the knees hovering above the floor. You want to focus on keeping your hips squared when you are centered, when your whole body's facing the mat. You want to keep the hips level. But we're going to add a twist to this as well. So from here, tucking the toes under, if you need to modify, just stay on the knees, or you could always go into downward dog if you needed, whichever felt easier to you. You want to try to keep your knees not too high above the mat, maybe a couple of inches, and from here, we're going to reach the left leg across underneath the right one, extend it out, pivot, and reach up with the right arm, bring it in, place it back down, and come onto your bear plank again. Let's switch sides. Right leg goes across, pivot and open up to the left. As you reach with the left arm, bring it back down. So be very mindful of the movement that's occurring in your shoulder here. Again, you want to avoid impinging on the shoulder. You simply want to bend that arm, roll it back, and reach it up. Bend the arm and release the row as you come back to your bear plank. So it is a row and a pivot and extension, and bring it back down again. As we continue, back to bear plank. Reach it across, open up, and bring it back down. Keep your breath going, moving to your bear. Take a little bit of a pause when you come into your bear plank position, just to make sure you're centered and you're firing up all your muscles to stabilize and equalize. So last one, to each side. Breathe in here, breathe out as you reach it up and bring it back. Breathing into your bear plank, breathe out, bring it back, and take a good stretch here once again. So from here, as we unroll, we're going to move into a seated position. All right, so you want to have access to all of your weights, so they're not too far away. And as we begin with I'm going to start with my heaviest weight here. I'm going to bring a bend to my knees. So I want to make sure that I'm well aligned here. I've got my usual activation of my powerhouse, and taking a weight, the one heavy weight in both hands, I'm going to roll down. So I keep that weight in front of my chest. I can adjust the feet a little bit here, keeping a bend in the knees. Head comes down, breathing in, breathing out. To reach it forward, just want to tap the weight between my feet. Bringing that weight to the chest, rolling down with control, breathing in and breathing out as I tap that weight between the feet again. So there's a little bit of an opening of the knees as I come up and reach forward. So keep that going. Again, it's all about control. So you never, when you're working with weights, you never want to be flopping and throwing any of your body parts to extension. You want to be controlling as you move through the exercise. So even if it means that you need to maybe make the movement a little bit smaller, maybe you have no weight at all for this one, which would be perfectly okay. Better to forego using the weight and use your own body weight. You're lifting up your torso here. So your head alone weighs about 15, anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds. So that's quite a bit of weight. And then you've got your shoulders You've got large joints there, your whole rib cage, so lots of weight to those bony structures. So even if you decide to go without weight, you're still getting a really good workout. So we're going to do this one last time. And this time as I come down, I'm going to go ahead and use I'm going to stay with one heavy weight for this one. So again, you might start out with one and have to adjust it and go to a lighter one, but we're going to be working on tricep extensions. So once again, I'm holding my weight in both hands as I start with it up overhead. From here, I'm going to stretch my legs out long. So I want to remain neutral through my spine. And if I want to add on, I'm going to bring the legs up here. And I'm going to hold them here as I reach back and up. Breathe in and out. So keeping my ribs nice and still, so I'm not flaring them out as I bring the arm back. So from here I have another 5. So you can always lower the legs down if you need to. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Lower the legs and bring that weight down. From here, I am going to come to using my 2 heavier weights as I bring the feet in and prepare to come into bridge. So I want to have my heels toward my bottom. I don't want to have my legs splaying out. Don't want the knees touching. I want the legs just as they were when we were doing the standing exercises, right underneath the hips. This way they line up with the hips. So I have to engage my inner thighs, and it forces me to engage my outer thighs as well. And the fronts and the backs, so the whole leg is working, your glutes are working. So do intend to bring your shoulder blades toward each other as you reach your weights up overhead, holding them here as I lift up into bridge. So I'm squeezing my glutes here as I continue to hold those weights overhead. Now I could stay here, or I could come into a tabletop with my right leg doing toe taps, or I can extend the leg with a longer lever to do leg lifts. So you choose whether you're holding, whether you're doing your toe taps, or your leg raises. So I have 5 more on this leg. 5. 4, keeping the hips level, so make sure that the leg that is moving is that hip's not dropping. I've got 2 more. 1 more. Bring it up, bend, and step it in. So reset your bridge. If you need to take a little break, you can come down in between. And let's attack the other side. So either from a toe tap or a straight leg to work those leg raises, toe taps, or simply holding on to your bridge. Remember, the leg that is stabilizing you right now is engaged. You want to feel the inner thigh and the outer thigh working. Don't let it collapse out or in. Lots of control on the leg that's moving up and down. It's not flopping, it's engaged. So we've got the last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it up, bend, step it in, squeeze those glutes, and bring it down. Bend the arms and set the weight aside. Give those arms a good stretch here. Lengthen out the legs. Take a nice breath in as you stretch everything out. And from here, I'm going to take 1 weight in, again, holding on with both hands. Let's switch my grip, so opposite hands on top. I'm going to take the weight and bring it to my right shoulder. Bending the knees here. So just lifting up my bottom so I can get into a nice neutral spine. The weight is to my right shoulder, and we're going to do it as if it's a sledgehammer, but again, you're not swinging, you're going to control as you lift up and bring it across to the left side. Roll it down, bring that weight back to your right shoulder, lifting up and across to the left. So breathe in when it's easy at the bottom, breathe out to give you more power as you use it to lift you and reach across. Breathing in and breathing out. So really working those obliques as you bring that weight to the right and bring it over to the left. So last two on this side. Last one, and bring it over to the opposite side. So I'm just going to switch my grip, opposite hand on the top. Again, reset, make sure your hips are level, knees are bent, and when you're ready, take an inhale at the bottom, exhale to come across. So getting into that rhythm on the other side. Weight to the shoulder, weight reaches to the right, to the left, and to the right. Again, control, so not using momentum to get you up there. You might find one side easier than the other, as we often do for most of these exercises. And let's go with another 3, 2, and last one. Bring it back to the center. I'm going to keep this weight as I bring it overhead. And from here, bringing both legs up over the hips, and I'm going to hold on to the weight, starting with my head on the mat. A little chin tuck as I reach up toward my feet, come on down, and lift my tailbone off the floor. Reach up, and tailbone lifts. Reach up, and lift the hips. 3, 4, 5. Try not to swing the legs, but rather squeeze from that deep core to get those hips, get that tailbone lifted off the floor. And 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. Bring that down. Now this time, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my medium weights. So hold on to those. I will begin with my legs up over the hips again. And the knuckles are excuse me, facing each other as I start out. Just want to get them evened up here. And keeping those legs nice and long, keeping the hips level. Powerhouse is on. We're going to take a breath in. As I open into a chest fly, I'm going to lower my right leg. The arms just hover above the floor. They don't touch the floor. And bring that right leg back up. Switch over to the left one. And up again. Breathe in. When it's easy, breathe out as you're working hard. Inhaling at the top. Exhaling as you lower the arms and the leg. Again, remember, it's about the control. Squeeze those muscles. So even if you're doing this without weights, you want to be making those muscles bulge. So squeeze squeeze the muscles, whether you've got weights or not. If you've got the weights, remember, you are leading the weight. You're not letting the weight pull you open. And it's the same thing with the leg. Even though you don't have weights necessarily on the legs, unless you're using ankle weights, you want to be executing as if you did have weights on your legs. So there's lots of control there. So let's do one more with each leg. Last one. And bring it in. So from here, stretch those arms out again. Reach them back. Stretch the legs nice and long here. And breathe into those spaces. Open up the chest here as well. From here, we are now going to move back into a bridge as I bring my medium weights once again up overhead. So I'm going to walk the feet in, bringing my heels toward my bottom, tucking the tailbone so that it's as if I'm trying to get my tailbone to point up to the sky and lifting my hips up. So I'm squeezing the glutes, and from here, starting with my weights up above my shoulder, I'm going to bend and point those elbows toward the wall that's in front of my knees, or pointing them toward my knees, and extend again. So the weights come just around the hairline as I bend the elbows and then straighten them again. Make sure that the entire time, whether you're using weights or not, you are paying attention to those glutes. You want to feel them working hard. Mine are shaking as I'm holding. I want to really, really be conscious of firing them up. We never want them to get lazy on us, especially if you do find yourself doing a lot of sitting. You are going to find that you have to be extra mindful of keeping your glutes engaged. So a few more times here. 2 more. Squeeze those glutes. And last one right here. Bring it down and release your spine back down again. Bring the knees into the body. Give yourself a really great big hug. And from here, we are going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back to my lightest weights. So these are the 2-pound weighted balls. And I'm going to bring my feet wider than my mat. So wider than hip width. I'm going to open up my arms, kind of like a starfish here, so I have enough room. And so the arms are just slightly raised. They're bent chest, shoulder height. And from here, I'm going to bring my right arm up, left leg toward each other. Again, as I fire up the oblique. So there's lots of control as I bring that weight back down again. I'm going to go back with the right arm, left leg. So you're reaching towards your ankle, towards your toes, whatever you're able to reach. But you're taking time to get that foot and the arm, the weight to come back down and touch the floor in between. But you're not staying there to rest. You're just taking a tiny little pause when you get to the bottom. Keep your breath flowing. So you'll feel those upper arms working here. Let's do the last 2. Last 1. And bring it down. So we're simply going to go ahead and keep going, switching sides. Left arm, right leg. Keeping the arm and the leg nice and long. The head lifts up, helps you to reach as you pick up that left shoulder blade off the floor so that you can move toward your right leg. down to the last 6. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Bring it back down again. Release the weights. Bring those arms and legs nice and long for a big, beautiful stretch once again. From here, we're going to move into a bridge, and this time we're making it a stretchy bridge. So you want to walk the feet in, bring your heels nice and close to your bottom, bring the hands by your hips, walk your shoulder blades toward each other as you lift yourself up here. So squeeze those glutes, try to get maximum lift and stretch into the hip flexors, into your thighs, into the chest. Toes are pointed straight ahead once again. Squeeze, lift up a little higher, and then roll it back down again as you release. Bringing your knees into the chest, lift your nose to your knees. And bring that in. From here, we're going to lift the right leg up, clasp the back of it, and pull it towards you. You can circle out your ankle, doing that in both directions, just to get it nice and loosened up. Continuing to pull your thigh towards you. You might even rock the hands a little further up the leg. Maybe stretch your left leg up, bringing that in. Holding it here. You can keep your left leg lifted if you like, a little bit more. Firing up of the core while stretching the back of the leg. And as you walk your left foot back in again, bend that right leg and place the ankle on top of your left thigh. So try to level your hips and try to relax that right leg as much as possible so it opens up the inner thigh, and then bring it down again. From here, reach through the window to clasp the hands now behind your left leg. As you continue to pull it closer towards you, you are going to feel an amazing stretch, especially in that right glute, hip. Try to relax your chest and your shoulders as much as you possibly can while you do this as well, so that you target that mid section, and then release the foot down. From here, I'm going to continue to work on that right hip, taking a hold of my right foot, bring the left arm by the ear, roll onto the left side, point the knee away from you as you draw the foot in towards you. So you want to point that knee away, keep it tucked of your tailbone, roll your upper shoulder back, and if it's possible, you're crossing that bottom leg on the top one, stretching into that outer thigh, breathing into and release. Bring it back to the center, bring both knees in. Do a little bit of rocking from side to side here to massage out your back beautifully. And when you're ready, you're going to extend your left leg, clasping the back of it, pulling to open up that hamstring, that glute. Again, while you're doing that, circle out the ankle because we did quite a bit of stabilizing work, so that feels really good to massage this out and lubricate it. You can continue to work your way up the back of the leg, possibly stretching out your right leg too. If you need to, you can keep it bent. So you want to feel yourself really opening that up, relaxing the chest, and if you lift your nose up toward the knee, you can also lift up your right leg so that you are keeping the core fired up. Feels great. So you bring the head down, foot down, bend that leg, slide your right knee in, your right foot in, allow that hip to open up as you lift up into that half bridge. So level with your hips, allowing the leg to open up as much as is possible for you. when you're ready to bring the hips back down, you're reaching through the window and you are bringing your right leg back in again. So squeeze it in. If possible, you're reaching even further to pull that right knee closer and closer to feel the amazing, amazing stretch that's going on the left side. Love that stretch. Feels so good. Feels even better when you use the therapy balls on the glute muscles there, especially after a workout. Opens them up like nothing else. Now as you bring that left foot down, you can take a hold of the left one, extend your right arm, roll onto your right side, and again pull that heel towards you, point the knee away from you, hold it there, or option to cross your right ankle on that left leg while you continue to open up your left shoulder. So you want to feel the left shoulder kind of rolling back, breathing fully, and let it go. Come on back and onto your back. Open up the arms nice and wide. Allow your legs here to wiper blade from side to side. So because we've stretched the hips out already, you might find you're pretty loose now, or a lot looser, starting to feel like you're restoring greater mobility to your body. And from here, we'll bring the left knee in, extend the right leg, and just take it across. You can open up your left arm. You're placing your gaze wherever it's comfortable. If you want some extra here, you could use your right hand to your left big toe, your ankle or your foot, and see if you can straighten that left leg out in front of you. And that's going to create an amazing stretch through the front line of the body. And keeping that left shoulder down, if you want a little extra still, you can always bend your right leg and see if you can get a hold of that right big toe to get even further into your twist and even a little bit more juice out of that hip stretch. Let all of that go. Come on back to the center. Squeeze in the knees. Rock side to side. Stretch out your left leg. Right knee comes to the left side as you open up your right arm and look in that direction if you wish. So again, you can stay here, or you go ahead, reach for your right big toe and reach away from you as you hold on with your left hand. So you've got a yogi lock if you choose to go ahead and do that, which means you're using your peace fingers, wrapping them around your right big toe, and you can do yogi lock with your right hand to the left big toe as you bend that leg. So really getting into pretzel kind of position here. So not only are you strong, you are flexible. You have great mobility by working that combination of stretch and strength. You are only as young as your spine is flexible, your body flexible. We start off life nice and supple, but as we continue on in life, we tend to become more rigid. And that's what we really want to work toward, maintaining that suppleness that we're born with. So you open up again, you can let those knees a wiper blade from side to side. As we extend the legs out, take a big breath in to open up and lengthen. And as you exhale, tuck the chin in and roll yourself up to come up to seated. From here, coming into seated position, let's bring a little love to those arms as we stretch them open, bringing them up overhead. Take the right hand, bring it between your shoulder blades as you use your left hand to guide it down. Press the back of your head into that arm. Keep pointing that right elbow to the sky. As you release it, stretch both arms up. Left hand comes between the shoulder blades, a right hand to guide it down, pressing the back of your head into the arm. Breathing in, opening up through the chest. And release it. Open both arms up. Bring your left or right one forward, left one winds under. Wind them together. Take a big breath. Lift those elbows. Exhale. Take a bow forward if you can, or as far forward as is available to you, or you could just place hands on opposite shoulders if that's what's accessible. As you unwind and reach up again, inhale those arms up. Bring the left one forward this time, right one winds underneath, aiming to try to get those palms together. Lift the elbows, inhale. Exhale, tip it forward again. As you take a bow, letting your knees open up nice and wide. And unwind as you come up again. Take another big breath in. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the right hand down. Reach up and over with the left one. Reach, 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 stretching that whole side. Take the hand, place it on the back of the head. Gently turn your gaze toward that elbow. Inhale to bring your right arm up. Exhale, bring the left one down. Again, you're reaching through a really nice long line through the right side, softening up on the left. Take the hand behind the head, look up to that elbow, and bring both arms up. Look up to the hands, exhale, bring the hands to the heart, and Namaste.